Now time for an exciting conversation with one person you can pretty much describe as a legend in the space. You know, she's seen it all, done it all, but she's not giving up yet. You know, according to her, there's a lot more to be done in the space. It's always a pleasure to have you, Juliet Asante.
Thank you. It's such a privilege to be here.
Wow.
On the first of the year, no less.
to think that we're able to drag you out on the first day of the year, you know, we are honored to have you.
Thank you.
Amazing. You know, I look at the profile and I'm like, when it comes to the creative arts space, right? Or let me say even the orange economy. I don't know whether that's why I'm orange, but you know, when it comes to the when it comes to the orange economy, right? What have you not done?
There's a lot I haven't done, or there's more I want to do that I'm excited about. I think there's a lot around children's programming, and I think that's one of the things that we need to look into. So I'm excited about thinking more about that space. There's a lot of stories we haven't told, a lot of animation we haven't done, a lot of gaming we haven't developed. And if you look at the fact that the median age for Ghana is 18, then, you know, it's like over 70% of Ghanaians are really young people. So to think about content for that demographic, and this is reflected across the entire continent. So this is a real opportunity that we need to look into. So for me, you know, it's like the more you do, the more you realize there's more you can do or haven't done. So it's that kind of thing for me.
Interesting. You came on the scene at a time when, you know, it was a very new area for a lot of people. The resources weren't there as much. But all through the years, you still came up with like very innovative, you know, very transformational, you know, programs, content. How has the experience been for you, you know, over the years? Wow,
this is an interesting question, because yesterday I was lying down thinking, I'm letting go of my past. Everything I've done, so I'm letting go. And in my mind, I'm starting afresh, you know, and it's like a fresh plate, and everything is possible and everything is welcomed. It's been quite interesting. Of course, when we started, there was no social media, you know, all of those things. Technology wasn't as developed. And for me, at this age, and now also learning AI and what it can do and the opportunities, and my God, the kind of programs that are coming out and how it can bridge the space. I think I'm very lucky. I feel very lucky to be able to reference that time. But one of the things, especially when it comes to the creative space and the film space in particular, that hasn't changed, is that story is still king, right? No matter how technology grows, without a good story, you can't really, you know, do the things you need to do. So for me, that's the one thread that you know, weaves through. And I think the issues are still the same. And of course, now we have, let's just throw our mind and think about how in a few years, our continent will have the largest youth population. So that's a huge opportunity.
The youth bulge.
Exactly.
The youth bulge, like, yeah.
Exactly.
Wow. Wow.
You've been on our screens, you know, in the creative industry for a very long time. Did you always know that this is what you wanted to do?
Yes. Yes.
From how young?
From very young. First, I wanted to do music, but then I didn't have the talent, right? For music.
To sing?
Yeah. No, I mean, I just couldn't. The last time I was reminding someone how, you know, his soul rest in peace, John Kay, those days was like, Juliet, you can sing, and started me on some practices and stuff. No, I can't sing, right? But very early, I knew this is what I wanted to do. And those days, though, we were lucky in the sense that if you wanted to, so I started on stage, stage dramas. I was actually even vice president of the drama club at some point in my school. And then when I was done, everyone thought, and myself thought I'd go do law. And that's what I, you know, wanted to do. But then I thought, no, let me explore this. And luckily my parents were open to it. And those days you could go to GFIC. That was like the gathering place. There was an institution you could go to. So I remember just walking in there to the receptionist and saying, I want to act. And she was like, you want to act, young lady? And then she picked up the phone and called then Mr. Abekwe, who became my industry father. And he kind of held my hand, sat me down, and as they say, the rest is history.
Wow.
Wow.
You have incredible films to your name, top of your head. Which one was your favorite? And do you even watch your movies when you're done with them? I know most actors and actresses don't.
No, because I'm like the biggest critique of myself, right? Yeah. So I'm like, that kind of thing. So, those days technology wasn't as, like I said earlier. So I don't know. I went on YouTube, tried to get some of them. You can't really get some of them. But what was my favorite? I would say this because that's my first film that I did, full length. That was Twin Lovers. That was my first full length. And then I did Deadly Voyage, obviously.
I was going to come to that.
Yeah, because of the experience
and
how
96.
grand it is. Yeah, it was. So that was a real experience. I won the Best Actress Award with Ripples. So that also, and then I made my own film later called Silver Rain.
In 2015.
Yes, that actually was nominated for Best Film in Africa with AMVCA. So I would say those generally, but just like everything else, I think my best is yet to come.
We will live for it.
I know, we can't wait. Between stage acting and, what's the other one called? How different is it? I know for stage, if you forget one line.
It's very different. Actually, I think one of the issues we've had is we've had a lot of, which is good. It's a good problem to have, but perhaps we need to fine tune it a bit. We had a lot of stage actors move on to film, and that is great. The basics is the same, but the dynamics and the principles are a little different because stage is you need to project so that the person sitting at the last seat can see you, hear you, see your expression, feel your expression and all that. Now film is the exact reverse. You have to internalize. So the best way to act is not to act, So you see how the two then contradicts.
Yeah.
So if you have people who have stage experience then transition into film, there could be that tension at least for a while. And I think those were some of the reasons, or that's what has kind of carved our acting culture a little bit, because we don't have also the institutions to train. I used to have an acting school, by the way, but it collapsed. But a lot of the people that we trained went on to do really well in the space. So that said, I think a lot more people need to train a little bit, need to kind of reverse inward a little bit, need to study the different, when you go out there, no matter how big the actor is or actress is, per each project, they still train. Right. So training is important. There's nothing like I was born, born with it and stuff like that. So I say that's the biggest difference that we have.
One of my favorite writers says that nothing beats preparation.
Exactly.
So I believe training and preparation are in the same line.
Exactly.
Wow. So you're an actress, you're a producer,
right?
You are
a director. I'm a writer.
You're a writer. I was coming to that because I see your byline on Huffington Post. Wow. And you also worked in education, because I remember one time you were on the board.
Yes, I was actually the board chair of the National Film and Television Institute, which is now UNIMAC. I also helped craft the curriculum of the creative arts school that was supposed to come. But I did a lot of mentoring at MIT, which is Massachusetts Institute of Technology.
Wow.
And that for me was a really mind-blowing experience, because you have people who are really pushing the envelope of what is possible. And to get the opportunity to mentor such a group of people, I think it was really a highlight.
This is an incredible wealth of experience. And you're also in public service.
Yes.
Was it a very fulfilling experience for you?
It was because it was an intentional experience. I mean, at the time, of course, I knew this was where I was going to be. And looking at the gaps and things that needed to be done, I said to myself, I'm going to put 10 to 15 years of my life down and see what I can do. And that meant going back. You know, there's a proverb that, you know, when they go to run, it goes back to gather momentum. So it was, for me, it was that going back to school, learning public policy, public administration. So it was a very intentional thing, deciding that I was going to come back anyways, despite being away for a while, setting up the Black Star International Film Festival to advocate for,
that was
you know,
incredible.
systems, and then when, you know, and doing a lot behind the scenes. And so when the opportunity was ready, I was asked, you know, would you take this on since you've done so much work in the background? And I happily did so.
Wow. You know, except to say that we remember that there were quite some challenges.
Right.
Some of them you even had cause to come out to publicly say.
Right.
And I remember you say one time that you had a budget of 100 cities to work with.
Yeah.
You know, in Ghana, there's a thing they say that the theory, right, is
Right.
very different from the reality.
Right.
You know,
right.
so it's one thing having all the experience,
Yeah.
and it's another thing facing the realities
Right.
with regards to the actual support, the policy formulators, and
Right.
I'm referring to government,
Right.
you know, is interested. You know? So I want you to talk to us about maybe some of the challenges you encountered, right, as the NFA boss, the National Film Authority boss.
Well, first of all, setting up a government institution is no joke. You know, I've set up, as a private person, I call myself a social entrepreneur, sometimes, you know, creating companies here and there, or the serial entrepreneur. But setting up a government institution is its own monster, right? The rules and regulations and what can be done and what can be done, and how to do it and all of that, it's its own challenge. And there's no like roadmap. There's no one to guide you that, oh, you're setting up an institution, do this from here, do this. So basically you go, as you go, you hit, you 10. And then, of course, I was doing it without a staff. So now having to find people to work with me, and the right people, and bear in mind, for me, I'd set up in my mind, this was an intentional thing. So I set up a certain number of time to focus on this. So there was no time to, I wasn't there to just sit there and relax and see how things go. I mean, I was on a mission. You know, it's like, you know, I have to do this. So getting the right people to be able to help you do what you need to do. Did you have a board? I did. But in the public service, the board is non-administrative. So they advise you, but then you need staff to work with. You need facilities, resources. You need, you know, kind of things. But I think that setting up a new institution, perhaps the policymakers or the government itself wasn't ready, didn't understand the magnitude and magnum and what. And you know, I am a very ambitious person, and where I sit, I know the possibilities. So also trying to create that bridge between the perception and the reality and what is possible to say that, oh, this is where you are. Maybe it isn't contributing a lot to GDP or what, but if you put in this kind of investment, this is your potential return on investment. But you need someone who actually believes in that outcome totally, that can say, okay, if the UNESCO report says that we are employing 5 million people and bringing 5 billion, and potentially we can do like 100 billion or 20 billion or employ over 20 million. What is the roadmap? How is this possible? How committed can we be? How can we move it from A to Z? I think there were gaps. And then also understanding of the people in the sector and having everyone buy into the dream and vision, and doing all of that without resources and without, you know, it was a really roller coaster ride.
But I know there's budget allocations and there's the actual disbursement. Were there budgetary allocations to begin with?
Again, when you're starting a new institution, you are not even captured in the you know, and the ministry you're on, they themselves, they are like, okay, so I have a child somewhere where you know,
trying to figure it out.
then you are convincing your minister who has how many agencies under them, and then Parliament that haven't heard your name before, and stakeholders that they themselves are a little, uncertain what we want. It isn't a walk in the park.
Do you regret it?
No.
Sure.
It was the most fulfilling time. First of all, and I always say this, I always said that, I'll say it again, the team that I put together gave me hope in humanity. Because you had all these young people, and some not very young, who bought into the vision and sacrificed and will sit in the office and contribute to buy electricity or use their own money to go on, and do events and all of that. And many of them have still not been paid, never were paid, including myself, using our homes for offices and, our own cars and no refunds and having meetings with no money at the end.
Wow.
It wasn't easy, so
what would spare you to go such lengths?
We believed in a dream. We really had a mantra. We believed in the dream. We thought we could change things, and I think to some extent we did. Whether it stands and holds and grows is another thing, but the most important thing is it was established, and for it to be established without those sacrifices, the National Film Authority as we have it now wouldn't be there. So I think
wow.
Do you think, or what in your opinion do you think the NFA has done to change the trajectory of Ghana film industry?
Well, first of all, having a film commission in itself is a big achievement. So now when countries around Africa, and less than 40% of the continent have film commissions. So the National Film Authority is what you will refer to as a film commission. That's like the chief advocate of the film, sector in a country. So we have that. And there were many things that we did. I mean, some of the things we did, the biggest one that people last year, so many people called me about it, and it was a bit of a disappointment we didn't do it again, was the Africa Cinema Summit. Because it was the first of its kind. It had really taken off. People were really excited and looking to convene in Ghana. And the agenda was quite unique compared to every other thing, which is developing the marketplace of the space. So that was huge, and I think for the time that we did it, it really brought a lot of respect and spotlight to Ghana, and also helped us kind of streamline even what was happening in other countries. So we started something called Shoot in Ghana. A lot of the projects you see coming now, where it's spurred on by that. And Shoot in Ghana is being copied by, as we speak, about 6 other African countries. So that we can take credit for. Things like Script Bank, which was meant to train the back end, the writers and stuff like that. Ghana Cinema Week, it didn't happen again, but hopefully one day it will again pick up again. The Peach series and all of those. So we did quite a lot.
To think that you get employed or are given an appointment letter in 2020 and your first salary arrives in 2022 and for some reason you're still stuck on it. But you are known to be also very well connected, having been in the space for this long. Did you get the chance to meet the powers that be, and you know who I'm referring to, on some of the challenges you were facing? I did.
Again, and let me be charitable here. There's so many competing interests at the table at any one time. Right? There's education, there's health, there's that. So to make a commitment to support the space and to stick to that is one thing. Also, to make a commitment and follow up, because the head can say, I want this and this to happen. But the follow up and those who are supposed to do it, they may not align with that mindset. Right. And so one of the things for me, though, that count my heart was at the end of it, as you put it, the head that be, said that we didn't support you, and that's something that, we should have done. And of course, I was recognized.
Are you able to tell us who this person is? I mean, So that I don't want to assume.
Let me say one thing that this person did, and I'm going to tell a story that demonstrates how committed or what could have been possible. And this was one of my biggest maybe let down. So about 3 months to the end of the year, which was 2 years ago, right? So that would be 2024. I was called around 9 p.m. and it came from the very top that, you know what, you've been telling us this and we are really, you know, we want to do something to help the sector, and something we must do to crown your efforts, because my God, if anyone has given us pressure, it's been you. So we are on our way to see the Afri-Exim Bank, and then the Afri-Exim Bank had announced the $1 billion fund for the entire continent. If you can come up with a proposal, I will personally put it at, you know, at the foot of the head of Afri-Exim Bank and see if we can come up with a fund for Ghana. I stayed up throughout the night, of course. Luckily, you know, this is something I'd been advocating for so long. So I had my documents and everything ready. Put up a serious couple of pages that kind of proposed that Ghana be set up as the headquarters, if you like a factory to produce content for all of Africa. And that went with infrastructure, policy, investment, all of those things. And the ask was for a $500 million fund from the Afri-Exim Bank. Fast forward, we got the nod somewhere in November that, Juliet, we think this thing is exciting. Afri-Exim Bank put me in touch with Afri-Exim Bank, worked to make this happen. So we were right on our way to sealing a $500 million fund for Ghana when, you know, things kind of went wild. So I just say that story to tell you the kind of when you advocate for a long time and then suddenly people sit up and realize, oh my God, the opportunities here are huge, and everything that you've been saying, we are now hearing, and we are, you know, committed to do what we can. But then, as they say, it was too late.
I have too many questions, I'm not sure. Would you say a legacy you've left behind is the fact that despite the challenges, a new government comes in place, but they still see need for continuity? Will you say it makes you proud that at least you laid the foundation for a takeoff? You know, consider the fact that somebody was appointed by the new government to replace you, you know, and also to, you know, as it may seem, bring some more change.
Definitely. Definitely. The fact that the National Film Authority is still there and still growing is exciting, and the possibilities are endless. You know, I sit in the back and I look at, okay, we've done our bit. Let's see what comes next. Let's see how they take it forward.
The biggest challenge is actually starting it, right?
Right. The biggest challenge is starting it.
And I think you did a heavy lifting.
Exactly. All the structures are in place. All the programs are in place. Africa Cinema Summit already has a global reputation. Shooting Ghana is already everywhere. Other countries like Uganda, Ivory Coast, I mean, they're all running with it. Even Nigeria is getting on. How are we going to take it forward? You know, though I must say that I think perhaps, especially in the creative sector, maybe we need to work together more. Government change or no government change, is important that, you know, we are too far back to get involved in divisive narratives, because it harms us. And as the creative sector, you know, we are the bearers of the water, so to say. And the bearers of the water means that if the water is not handled well, everybody will drown. And I mean this figuratively as well as philosophically and all of that, because, you know, who a people are is about their images, what they hear, what they see, all of that. So where we are, if we are to look for one sector that is responsible for our mentality and our growth or not as a people, the creative sector and led by the film space is a major factor. I was having a conversation with someone from the AU the last time, and we're talking about how for instance, you know, the film sector is part of the foreign policy of most developed countries. In fact, of all developed countries.
Yeah.
So if you notice the US and you keep attention, you realize that depending on the foreign policy of the government, you see that a lot of films will come out that support that.
Yeah.
You know, people are their stories.
Right.
Without, you know, I will become a story one day, you will become a story one day. The only thing that will keep you infinite and keep you written down is your stories.
Is that what they call cultural imperialism?
Well, exactly. You know, and look, if you look at your phone or whatever, 80 to 90% of your content may be from US, now more increasingly from Asia and all of that.
Yeah.
And that is why they have power. That's soft power. So the US is not boss of you because they would bring a gun to you. The US is boss of you because you're watching their films and listening to their music. It is very deliberate, and you are wearing their clothes, and it's extremely deliberate.
Right.
And so if we don't realize that this is such a deliberate and intentional space, as well, that we could also be making a lot of money from here and creating a lot of employment from here. Otherwise, we become the spectators and consumers to the rest of the world. And we are not creating for ourselves. We are not consuming what we ourselves create. We are not using what we create to impact our society. So it's a big loss. So I think for any government and for any people that want to grow and want to impact and want to, you know, have soft power, I think you can't neglect the film space and the creative space.
Right.
And for me, that was one of the most important reasons why I kind of, when I was leaving office, spoke about the conditions, because for me, I couldn't bear for the next person to go through what I went through, because then we'll be at the same place, you know, there's no moving forward. And of course, I had my commitment. Who knows the next person? Can they survive in this scenario? And so if there's anything that was achieved, was my hope that the next person will get the kind of support I didn't
So you're the
get.
sacrificial lamb.
Well, if you want to put it that way. You
Wow.
know?
You pioneered mobile first short
Mobile
films.
flicks, yes.
Yes, mobile flick. What inspired that idea?
In fact, so I went to the Kennedy School, Harvard Kennedy School, and I did some, with the Harvard Business School, I did some courses there. And my business idea was that, creating short films for your mobile phones. And I must say that that was the idea I came back with. And when we took off, I took off with MTN. And in one, I think 2 weeks or so, we had over 5,000 subscribers.
Wow.
It didn't go well. It went really well then. At that time, MTN wasn't even accepting long form content. It was only music. So I worked with them to actually structure film for your mobile phones. But you know, leadership change, ideas change. They kind of messed up. I'll say they messed up, and so I can't. You know, it didn't go. But it's interesting because now that is the future.
Yeah.
If you go online, there's what you call vertical films. And vertical films is really mobile flicks. So I tell my team, I'm like, again, this was something that if we had had the support, we could have been leading the world with this invention, because we started it and we were making short films, 5 minutes, 10 minutes films for your mobile phones.
Wow.
And it just took off like that. And someone somewhere thought, this girl is going to get so big, and, you know, and you know. But the thing is, I'll get big whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
You know?
Juliet, by the way, there's cake here for you. So interesting conversation, guys.
How do you see mobile technology and you know, streaming reshaping Africa's storytelling?
Right.
Maybe I should say Ghana.
It's a huge opportunity.
Right.
You know, it's a huge opportunity. I'm telling you about children's programming.
Yes.
And for me, during the holidays, I just thought, let me try my hands and let me see what can be done. And my God, within a short time, I had a story, I had animation, I had whatever. Now I'm just meant to edit it together, and then I have something I can put online. So I think that if we're intentional about it, I'm excited that I heard that I think the ministry or the Minister of Education is talking about introducing AI learning into schools. I think it's a brilliant move. So if you look at how technology is developing, there's really no going back. But for us, instead of saying it's going to come and take our jobs, which is going to do for real, but it will only take your job if you don't reinvent and create your own space. And for us, financial, has always been our issue.
Right.
But now you have a technology that you can use to leapfrog and close that gap. So I say, let's learn it and become the best version of it, because there's no going back. I mean, you can now all of a sudden come up with content that is comparable to something that a studio has created. Okay? Netflix is buying Warner Brothers. That streaming opportunity is going to get huge. It's unfortunate that they are not seeing the opportunities in Africa. They are short-sighted. But this is where the audience are going to be.
Will you say it's short-sightedness or just a lack of preparation on our part? And I say our part as, content creators, filmmakers in Africa. The pushback will be to say that maybe we didn't ready ourselves, right, for this takeover. Rather to say that Netflix, doesn't see the opportunity here. Maybe you want to just balance it for us.
I think it's two-way, and what you said is so important. So then one of the playbooks I'm always focusing on is Korea, South Korea, right? And you're so right. South Korea took about 10 to 20 years to prepare, develop their technologies, develop their actors. I mean, they put so much into it.
You see the whole of that K-drama
and
thing.
now K-drama, K-pop, all of those things, right? I watch it. I watch it religiously.
I want to watch K-drama on it, but I don't have a choice.
I watch it religiously, and they are masters at storytelling. I mean, the way their stories unfold, their structures, they are masters of it, right? And so then it got to a point where, was it 2 years ago? Netflix put over, I think it's 2 billion or so into the South Korean, the K-drama scene. So now you talk about preparation, where preparation meets opportunity. So South Korea invested in the space, and now investment is running after them.
Do you backtrack on your initial comment about Netflix not,
No, they're also very short-sighted because...
Oh, you still stand by it?
I stand by it, and let me tell you why. By 2030, and this is just 4 years down the line, Africa will have more than 41% of the global youth population.
Yeah, the youth bulge.
So sometimes you have to invest in your future, and your future is your audience for that kind of platform. And this is where that audience is. Those who are going to be watching K-dramas, where are they? Here. Right?
Interesting.
So, but I think our audience has also become very sophisticated. That's one of the missing gaps that we have. Our audience have become so sophisticated, like me, that is always watching K-dramas. So, if we are going to...
I can't believe it. I truly can't
And
believe it.
then I wanted to touch on the Ghana film industry and your thoughts around it, because you spoke about how, as a people, we've advanced in what we watch and what we think and all of that.
Yeah, so if I bring you something that, sometimes I get some trailers and stuff from people. I'm the founder of the Black Star International Film Festival, so films flood my timeline and we get submissions all the time. And this person is, beefing up their trailer and going on, and you watch it and you're like, my guy, we are in 2025.
I mean, like, ain't no way.
The characterization is not right, the acting is not right, the setting is not right, the plot is not really structured. So we are still in our mindset of, I've done so well because I've used, I've used the 4K camera, and I've,
but there's more to it.
You are competing against K-drama, my guy.
I know. I know. But so clearly, it's not a talent issue.
It is well, when talent meets preparation, then you have gold, right?
Is it more of a talent, or is more of like a structured industry, in that you have like all the relevant stakeholders playing their role, right? So government supporting with the funds if it has to, you know, a private sector that is ready, has the technical know-how, the technical ability. I'm referring to camera operations, I'm referring to, you know, set designs. You know, where's the challenge, if any?
Well, one of the things I was happy about with the last, when the budget was read, because we set up the Ghana Film Fund, and there's a little money in it, but it's not much. And so I was really excited to hear that, you know, the government is going to put in money, because even when we talk about the South Korean issue, it was a, you know, nobody can invest as much as government.
I like the way you're emphasizing. I like the way you're emphasizing.
You have to put in the money. And so, and then, but beyond government putting in money, you also need local investors. You need the diaspora. We need to convince the diaspora to invest in this space. We need to own our IPs, right? Because moving forward, gold is going to be in IPs. When you say content is the new gold, that means owning your own IPs. So we need to be able to convince, as we are, you know, bringing the diaspora, we need to convince them, when we are giving them places where they should invest in, investing in infrastructure. That's why I was so excited when I saw this musician make the announcement that he's going to put 2 million down to build an event space and all of that. So we need investors and the diaspora to put in money. That is critical, because let's not kid ourselves. I mean, if even we're talking about vertical dramas, that short drama you see on social media that is 1 minute is so exciting, and 1 minute they say download and watch the next episode. That 1 minute is probably $50,000 or $100,000 to make.
It's expensive.
So if you are going to make a feature-length film and your entire budget is 100,000 or 200,000, go home. In this space, you either go big or you go home.
There's nothing like starting small.
No.
Oh, but that is not a very,
one of the things
that's not a very encouraging
one
thing
of the
to
things
say
that
to,
you know, we were working on around the time I left, and I also hope it continues. We had actually brought the sector together, animators, game player makers, and all of that, to try and even develop the Anansi character folklore. You know,
I think I remember
exactly,
like that,
not just for Ghana, but all of Africa and the Caribbean and all of that. So yeah, it is go big or go home. So if people are investing, even in Nigeria, they are investing like $1 million into a series or whatever, and we are here, you know, playing around with 100,000, which is a vertical drama budget.
So wait, I feel you.
Yeah.
I have a question for you, and I, you know, there are so many of them, guys. By the way, we are interviewing Juliet Yaa Asantewaa Asante, you know, known for many things, right? You know, actress, filmmaker, producer, director, you know, philanthropist, if you want to say, because there are a few instances I've seen here, you know, try support society, and of course she's a writer, you know, also done a lot of work in education, and today she's been very gracious to spend her new year with us, sharing, you know, valuable insights, you know, in filmmaking, and also touching on some past experiences as well. Juliet, I have a question for you, and it has to do with the influx of, for want of a better word, foreign culture in our creative space. So for example, you see new and emerging talent wanting to sound a particular way. You already spoke about what cultural imperialism does, you know, all the Hollywood we watch, you know, but sometimes it's not even about trying to sound like people from North America. It's like they want to sound Nigerian, right? So even in our music, you know, our artists now consciously use Nigerian phrases, you know, to be able to jump on. I don't know, is it a numbers thing, right? So for example, if the more you sound Nigerian or South African, you know, even Amapiano, you know, like, is it, like, there's so many examples to cite, but I'm sure you get the crux of what I'm saying. Is there a problem? You know, are we losing out on what is authentic Ghanaian? Are we losing our identity in the name of trying to reach out and get onto the numbers?
You know, there's a saying that the kingdom of heaven has to be taken by force. And I'll bring you back to K-drama. I know, you know, Oma, Opa, I know kimchi, I know, you know all of them. I know all of those things. I can even say a few phrases, you know, all of those things. And I learned all of those things. I know about the Joseon period. I can picture how South Korean used to be during the Qing period, all of those things. And how did I learn it? By watching K-dramas, right? By they deliberately putting themselves and their stories out there. Like I said, we all become stories in the end. If you don't put yourself out there, you would vanish, right? And it's not about numbers. First of all, it's about self-confidence, because if you take the K-dramas, they speak their local language, but they do it well. And so interestingly, there was this one I was watching, Vicencio or something like that. And I started watching it in English. And after the first episode, I went back and changed it into the Korean language. Why? Because I've heard it so much that I'm loving it, and it's become music to my ears. I now even find their men attractive. When first I didn't even know who was who. Right?
Yeah, now able to tell you feel they all look the same.
They don't. I mean,
they actually don't. It takes a lot of.
You see,
I use football to realize that.
Right.
So yeah.
You see, so I mean, in this space, it's not about numbers. And I use South Korea because if you talk about Asia, South Korea will not be the largest country in Asia.
There's India, there's China,
exactly.
There's Indonesia.
Exactly. But look at what they've done. So if you don't, first of all, develop the self-confidence of your people, if a young child, when we did the last edition of the Africa Cinema Summit, and Idris attended, now say Idris.
I know, he was knighted.
One of the things that we did was to bring children there. In fact, I said that I think my job was done when he shook hands with my nephew, you know, and I was like, my job is done, even with my nephew, and to every little boy and little girl that is here, because suddenly that boy was seeing a man who was a hero, who he could identify with. So that changed his confidence. After that meeting transformed, right? You take a girl who starts watching content and everything she sees is flowing, soft hair, milk skin, never sees herself. She's going to grow up not thinking that her language is even worth anything. So she's very quick to trade it. So if someone comes with something better, she's not going to defend who she is because she thinks, I am better becoming you. And that is what we've become as a people. We don't value our food. Look, if you watch all the investment that Netflix made into K-dramas and you see their latest things, now they are pushing their foods, right? So you see, is it Bon Appetit, Majestic, you see Coffee Prince, you see whatever. What are they doing? They are now promoting their food. So they've gone beyond promoting their language, promoting their cultures, now they are promoting their foods, they are promoting their fabric, they are promoting their traditions, you know.
So it's a confidence problem.
It's a confidence problem.
Not necessarily a numbers thing.
But let me put, not just confidence, it's an intentional, don't forget there's intentionality behind this.
Yeah, but
right?
But that's different from saying that like an artist. I went to a concert recently. You know, he was on stage and the song apparently has a new song. And it's almost, the whole song is almost Nigerian. And
because he doesn't believe. Okay. Nigerians are also saying, I had to tell a Nigerian that Odoyewu is Ghanaian. He didn't know. They are also putting
that is also
India. So how about that?
Yeah.
Right?
But so we see our people doing more here, and even gospel artists, right? You know, one of our biggest gospel artists, they have a whole song in like, I think Yoruba or Igbo dialects, right? So, is it? I don't want to be quick to term it as a confidence thing, because then also they look at the numbers, compare population sizes.
Yeah,
right?
you are absolutely right. So let me reframe.
Okay.
Or rephrase. There's nothing wrong with that. In fact, that's one of the things I particularly advocate for. Pan-Africanism, right? My advocacy, in fact, when I shot my film, that's what I did. I casted in 5 African countries and shot in 2. So I immediately had access to all of those markets. So it's a business strategy, right?
Okay.
One of the things that we did last year, even with the festival, the Black Star International Film Festival, is to now try and get Ghanaian and African films into Cote d'Ivoire and French Africa. So if somebody is now, so because of that, we brought the largest player, Majestic, into Ghana. And as we speak, there's a Nigerian Chinese film that we are working on to show in Ivory Coast.
Wow.
So next time that Nigerian or Chinese is making their film, they will probably cast someone from Ivory Coast. So it's a strategic business decision. It doesn't make sense if you are in West Africa to not think about the entire market. So ideally, what you do is to have, maybe if you're shooting, have someone from Nigeria, Ivory Coast, Sierra Leone, Liberia, Gambia, just one characters, even if they just come and pass through, then you can sell in their country.
So diversity.
So there's nothing wrong with it.
So it's not,
But you see, for you to be able to spread out, you need to have a good foundation. Then you are not scattered and you are not taking over. So the only gap, I would say, is because we haven't established our base and foundation so strong. So any wind shakes us, right? So that's what's happening. If we were so established in who we are and what we are, and then we start doing that, you wouldn't complain.
I feel you. Sure, and ask more questions. For
oh, yes, I do. I just want to go a bit personal. What do you do to relax?
What do I do to relax? I watch K-dramas. I love music. I love animation. Nowadays, I'm playing with AI. I love writing. I love meditation. You know, so a lot of things. I keep chickens.
You do?
I keep chickens. I recently started fish. All of those things.
Is it as a hobby or for commercial purposes?
Oh, as a hobby. But now, so I'm really someone who supports that Nkokon Kitten Kitty idea. Policy is brilliant. First of all, our local chickens are becoming extinct. So it's very, very important. I went to Burkina Faso and all they eat is their local chickens. And it's great. They are stronger. They are tastier. And now my chickens, even though I started as fun, they provide about 75% of our eggs, the egg consumption in our home. So, you know, I started as fun, but then there's so much reward in it. So every household should have some chickens, and I love gardening. I love plants. I started a food business.
Wow.
So, yeah.
There's a lot going on.
There's a lot
Yeah,
going on.
you know, I grew up in my family, you know, growing up, my family was always in the food business, and it's always something I wanted to do, so.
Did you bring us up the chicken?
Yeah. I said?
Did you bring us up the chicken?
I wanted to bring you some, but you woke me up too early.
No, it's fine.
But give me time and I'm going to package. I started something called Mama's Healing Peppers.
Wow.
I'm going to bring you some. You would love it.
We would love to have it.
So the peppers in that.
Yes, so it's health. So I believe in let your food be your medicine.
Right.
So I develop recipes, and I've always done that, but that's not something I put out in the public. But I develop recipes for people. So this is one of the recipes that took off. And yeah,
I have too many questions for you. I don't even know.
Nice. That's very nice.
What kind of music do you enjoy to listen? You know, would like to listen to?
Well, I love our Ghanaian music. I love Osibisa. I love the recent artist. You know. Oh, I like Shatta Wale just because me and him have the same birthday.
Oh, really?
Yeah, 17th October.
There's no other.
You know, so when he's doing his things, I'm like, you know, yeah, this is an October 17th birthday. Like, let him do his thing.
Wow. I was going to put you on the spot to say between Shatta Wale and Stonebwoy, but I think that's answered.
Well, yeah, but Stonebwoy is my friend, so then you know he's a personal friend. So it's like I'm kind of in the top spot, but you see. Do I have to choose?
Not necessarily.
I love them both. I love them both.
Are you an early bird or do you like working late in the night?
I am both.
Okay.
I am both. And it depends on where my inspiration takes me. I am really, you know, I'm a beginner and I'm an ender. You know, yeah. But you know, more recently I've been sleeping a lot, so I wouldn't say I haven't been.
You couldn't do that in 2022.
Yeah, I couldn't do that in 2022. But now, my God, if you don't call me before 9 a.m.,
you're gone.
Yeah.
Toward the end of the show, I'd want to find out from you what would make you at peace with the industry. So maybe think about it. I'm sure you have your answers already. but let me still circle back to Eno's mention of The Deadly Voyage, right? You know, I think that was a movie that got a lot of attention, you know, locally and even like globally. What was it like being a part of that film?
It was life transforming. It was what consolidated me in the space. So I just come from from being in Twin Lovers, and I'd experienced that, and it was a really great set. And then I got thrust into Deadly Voyage. Bear in mind, one was about, let's say in now terms, maybe about $20,000, max $50,000 budget. And the other was a $5 million budget.
Wow. And even by today's standards, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
So to think, you know, back then.
Yeah. I mean, I was
29 years ago.
Is it 29 years ago?
96.
Am I that old?
96. Wow.
Oh my God. And I was a young girl.
Yeah.
Oh my God. It was like I hadn't seen anything like that before. There's one camera person you have here, where Paco.
Yeah, okay.
Pakoski.
Where is he?
You know,
he was on that set with me.
Wow.
We call him Don Pakoski, you know.
And I remember, my God, when we broke for food, it was an entire, you know, that's why for me the Shoot in Ghana campaign is so important, because look, they came here, brought $5 million. A film can come and shoot and they bring $20 million, $50 million, and they spend up.
Just come on and give us a shout out. Donkey. Oh. Incredible guy.
Do you remember when we were eating like the auditorium? Here to there. Like, oh my long table.
You see?
After
$12, you know,
let the camera see your face. Incredible.
Oh
so he was on the set.
He was on the set.
As a cameraman. And you remember?
I remember. And I was a young girl. And I was, you know, you see him, you think he's a young boy. You know, and all of these actors, Chiwetel, that now went on to do 12 years of a slave, Adewale, and Omar Epps, and all these people, they were all young. We were all young.
Was it really shot on, like, the sea?
Yeah.
It was shot on the sea.
It was.
Wow.
It was like, for me, it was like, I was just like in awe. I was like, is this it? My God, the equipment, the jib arms,
even
the
at
cameras.
That time.
Oh, forget.
Wow.
And that's the vision I carried, even into my position, you know, to situate, because those days films were coming. And when the films come, they bring expertise, they bring money, they bring opportunity, they bring enlightenment, they bring exposure. They bring all of these things.
Yeah.
And
money. People get paid.
My God.
So
that is one of our lowest hanging fruits. Wow. Because we are all set up. We have, you know, with the right policies and infrastructure, we could be attracting $50 million, $100 million, $200 million films. Can you imagine? Those days, I was paid $500. How much were you paid? $500. $500 that time, no. That's what I used to buy me in Chensin here. I didn't know.
But
yes.
if now even somebody gives you
$500,
it's a big deal.
That is what I used to start my life.
And to think that 30 years ago.
My God. And imagine if I was getting that kind of money on a regular.
Yeah.
So somehow I feel a little sad for our young ones coming that they are not getting these opportunities. And look, you ain't seen it until you see it. Trust me.
Will you say the closest to that would have been the Beast of No Nation film?
Yeah.
No, considering like
I think the budget was around the same. I think the budget was around the same. So I agree with you. But those days there was a momentum. Right? You could have like 2 or 3 or 4 a year. Paco, am I right? You could have like 2 or 3 or 4 a year.
Right. That was bigger than the...
Yeah.
What would you say was the attraction back in the day?
First of all, we had Ghana Film Corporation, which then was sold and collapsed. Now, thankfully, we have the National Film Authority, and we actually started that campaign. So I hope, you know, during my time, we had about 4 or 5, before I was leaving office, we had about 4 or 5 lined up that were over $50 million, $100 million that wanted to come and shoot here. So that was important. Policy is important. Before I left office, we are done with the LI. So I'm hoping the new administration takes it forward and completes it. That's really important. You need some kind of standardization. Yeah. So if I come and I employ you, and then we need skill, so training.
Yeah.
Our
So
training
editors,
is not up to par.
Your cameraman,
yes,
your set designers,
yes,
all
yes.
of those.
You need to be able to leave the
Production
classroom and be on the 1 million, 2 million, 50 million production right away. We don't have that level of skill and training yet. We don't have the infrastructure. We don't have the equipment. It is too expensive to come and shoot here now. Because if you come, does it mean you have to bring all your equipment? The equipments here are not that many, so they are expensive. When I was in the position, we were trying to get some investors to invest in equipment and all of that, to have a post-production house. Like, there's so many things. So, like any investment, there are things we need to do. Set up a studio, stuff like that. Train people, equipment. So these are the main things. Once we have these things ready, they would come, because, and then a tax incentive. You know, we had just finished the document. You know, I'm trying to give my successor a little pressure, you know, like, you know, like a little pressure, like there's a tax incentive document, forgive me, but you know, like there's a tax incentive document that is almost, that was done. All that needs to be done is to be taken to cabinet and parliament. And once we have a tax incentive, because nobody is going to come and shoot in your country without a tax incentive. South Africa has it, Morocco has it. You know, it's like, let's get a tax incentive. Then we can begin to see those productions flowing in again.
What would you tell your younger self if you could have a chat with her now?
Oh, have more fun. Life is not that serious, you know. Let things go easier. I always let things go, but I would be kinder to myself. I wouldn't be so much of a perfectionist. I will have a lot more fun. Yeah, but everything I've done, given the opportunity, I'll do it again.
Has brought you thus far. Jude, your last question.
Yeah. I mean, at what point do you say, you know, there's a lot of not normalcy, but like you can rest knowing that the industry is where you envisioned it to be?
Unfortunately, we are a bit far off from there.
It'll take a lot.
If there's anything you know you can fault me for, is my honesty. Unfortunately or fortunately, we're a bit far. I think you see, when there's a perception of scarcity, nothing thrives in a state of scarcity. And right now, whether it's reality, whether it's a perception, we've created this environment of scarcity. So it's like, it's either me or you.
Right.
I can't help you because you would take away the one opportunity. And in fact, there's no scarcity in this world, right? There's enough for everyone. It's just that, you know, we hug the opportunities and we don't open it up. And so if we let go of our scarcity mentality, it will help us a lot. So I always say, when I had the opportunity, I wish I had a lot more support. And when I say support, it's not just policymakers. My own friends and my own colleagues treated me like I wasn't one of them. perhaps it was a scarcity mentality, because
Wow.
if she's in that role,
Wow.
then I cannot be
Wow.
in that role,
Wow.
or I cannot have enough,
But
or
there
she.
are other roles.
But there's so much. Imagine if we had all worked together to achieve,
Yeah.
you know. And so this is the one sector where I would say there's so much, if only we relaxed and allowed ourselves to see what is possible.
I've been encouraged by this interview. And,
Yeah,
you know,
I've really enjoyed it. Thank you so much for joining us.
You know,
Thank you.
what you've done today is to give me a sense of, you know, optimism that, you know, things can get better. And thank you for your leadership. You know, it's not easy being in a space where you don't feel support, but you still bulldoze your way. You know, I wouldn't be in a job. I struggle to see myself in a job where I'm not in a salary, but, you know, still keep
For
showing
years.
up. You know, that speaks to your love for country, you know, and want to say congratulations for
Thank you.
years of dedicated service really to the country.
Thank you so much. I also want you to acknowledge those I worked with. They were about 10 men and women who encouraged me and sacrificed with me. There's no way I could have done it by myself.
But I hope
Yeah.
they pay them later. If they pay them later, we'll take them to fair wages.
I don't think I don't think they were all treated well.
Wow.
Oh,
You know,
Yeah.
and I think it's important that we treat those who give to our country well,
yeah.
because it is all we have. And when we get out of this country and we meet perhaps on the streets of South Africa, I'm a Ghanaian and you're a Ghanaian, and that's
Yeah.
all that matters.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank
love
you.
it. Thank you so
Juliet
much,
Yaa
Juliet.
Asantewaa
Thank
Asante.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Like her name, Yaa Asantewaa, she forged.
Yeah. You know, names have effects.
Yes, they
so,
do.
yeah,
They certainly do.
maybe it was your call. You know, it was your
Thank
calling to fight your way. But you did the heavy lifting, and that's what matters.
Yeah.
You know, so
Thank you so
we are
much. We
grateful.
appreciate it.
Yeah. So
And
guys,
Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year to you, and let me just say,
there's
Happy
some
New
cake here. I think you could
no.
take a bite. It's
Do
actually
I have
very
to
good
take
cake.
it back on camera?
You
No,
feel
no, could be
free.
later.
But it would be nice to see you take a bite. The maker of the cake would be very pleased. You know, to say that Juliet Asante ate my cake on live TV. It's a big thing. But you can have it when
In
you're done.
spirit, I have taken because this first year, the first thing that has to go into my tummy is hot water.
Right.
And I haven't had
And
my
hot water, then you can wrap it home.
So I will wrap it, take it home, and this will be the next thing after my hot water.
Thank you so much.
All right.
All right,
so-
viewers.